I was amazed that parts of it could be identified, much less as in, well, there's a couple of buckles from the safety harness, and they're intact. You can easily identify them. It was amazing because I was under the impression it exploded, it buried, nothing left.
Buckles and parts to what, you ask? Well, to an old World War II plane crash told to Landreth by his great-grandfather.
My great-grandfather said he would go out in the field and see planes hitched out next to the fence just like horses. And he said this one day they were doing their maneuvers, and I was always under the impression that the plane took off from the field, but it did not. Like we found out, it came from Chattanooga, and it was doing its maneuver and went straight into the ground and exploded, and that's pretty much the story.
Landreth then explained how the search had begun with his neighbor and a close friend.
Charles and I were working on a fence one day, and Charles comes up and he says, "Hey, do you know the story of the plane?" And I said, "Yes, I do." "Do you know where it is?" I said, "I know about where it is." And I got within 150 yards. Keith and Charles went out with a metal detector, started digging. About 3 days later, they say, "Hey, we found it." Charles called me at home one night and he said, "We found it." So I threw my shoes on, got in the truck, took off over the hill. Sure enough, they were finding fragments of small pieces, anything from so big to a chunk so big, and we've got the propeller. And Keith has identified several pieces, and that's pretty much it.
It's seen better days, you can tell that for sure, but it's pretty significant. Definitely the nicest piece.
Charles and Keith have done all the research. I've not. Keith was kind enough to put together a real nice binder and bring it out to me, and I appreciate that. But most of the research has been done by them.
And in the end, when Landreth was asked about what his great-grandfather would think about their discovery, he replied,
He's sitting up there watching right now saying, "I told you so." So there you go.